Trivikram, the Aishwarya meaning is Vamandev, who, and what I'm telling you is just some of the meanings. There's more as we hear more from Gurudev and our Acharyas and Srila Prabhupada. So, Trivikram is the same person as Urukram, is the same person as Sri Vamandev, who took the 3 steps across the universe and put his 3rd step on Bali Maharaj's head, which made Bali Maharaj the one of the Mahajans, or great souls. So, how is that benefit? One way is that when Srimati Radhika was singing the Brahmar Geet, the song to the bumblebee, at the time when Krishna was in Mathura, she's telling this bumblebee, who's actually Krishna himself, who came in the form of a bumblebee, just to be astounded by hearing about the love of Radharani, because she'll never do it directly when he's right there. So, she's telling the bumblebee about all the bad things about Krishna. Like, for example, Lakshmi can love him because she doesn't know how bad he is. After all, she rides on an owl, and an owl is so ignorant it just opens its eyes in the nighttime and closes its eyes in the daytime. So she's probably ignorant like that too, and that's why she can love Krishna. We gopis, we're much more intelligent. We know about all of his cheating activities, not only in this birth, but in his past births. Because we've heard from Purnamasi that in his past births he was Ram, where he cut off the nose of somebody who just wanted to have amorous exchanges with him. And when he was Vamandev, even though Bali Maharaj was surrendering to him, he sent him to the hellish planets. She's getting everything kind of backwards. Because she's thinking of Krishna. She doesn't believe, Purnamasi, that Krishna had all those other incarnations. But she's just using that, thinking of everyone, all of those, as just another feature of the only Krishna that she knows, who's a cheater, who she and the other gopis gave their lives to, left their homes for, and then he went off to Mathura. Making sense? Trivikramaya Namaha. Om Vamanaya Namaha. Same thing, same Vamandev. Om Shridharaya Namaha. Shridhar. Shridhar. Shridhar means, Shri means Srimati Radhika, and Dar means carrying or holding. So that's a little confidential. I'll say it another time. Huh? Well, all right, I'll give you a hint. You know the song, who's that song? Shrita Kamala Kuchamandalahe? What page is that on? 168 in the yellow book. So, one of these verses says the same thing. Shrita Kamala Kuchamandalahe, which means he takes shelter of the breasts of Sarva Lakshmi Maya Srimati Radhika. And there's another one where it says that he lifts Govardhan. Which one is that? Seven? Oh, Drita Mandalahe. Who held up the Giriraj or Mandara mountain. So when Srila Gurudev was giving a lecture on Radhastami, every Radhastami he has the devotees sing this song. And he gave a very deep meaning about that. That Srimati Radhika's breasts are also compared with mountains. And Krishna takes shelter there. Om Shridharaya Namah, Rishikeshaya Namaha. Rishikesh means he's the master of the senses, but mainly he's the master of Srimati Radhika's senses. You may be aware that what Srila Gurudev said about Mahaprabhu, that you know how Mahaprabhu has all those ecstatic symptoms when he's in the mood of Srimati Radhika? Like his limbs go into his body and he becomes like a turtle in separation, or his limbs all separate at their joints by 8 inches when he jumps into the ocean in Jagannath Puri, and then he becomes, the fisherman thinks he's a ghost because he's all spread out. So we never read, Gurudev said, we never read or hear of Srimati Radhika doing all those contortions. Although we hear about her stuttering and weeping, hair standing on end, rolling on the ground. But we don't hear about those kind of things. But Gurudev said it must be happening to Srimati Radhika, or it wouldn't be happening to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Isn't that deep? So, Rishikeshaya Namaha. Then what? What's in the back? The back bottom? Om Padmanava Namaha, and then Om Damodaraya Namaha, and then Om Vasudevaya, Sarvam Vasudevaya Namaha. So, Padmanava, we all know Padmanava is Krishna, who has a navel that's shaped like a lotus flower, and he has a lake inside his navel. And from the lake comes Lord Brahma, who creates the rest of the universe. So Padmanava is Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. But the gopis use the word Padmanava when they met him at Kurukshetra. They addressed him as Padmanava because Krishna had just said, you know, he and the gopis were just wailing and weeping uncontrollably because they hadn't seen each other in 70 years. But they still looked like the same 14, 13-year-olds that they were before. And Krishna's trying to pretend that he's aloof. So he says to them, you know, like boys do. So he says to them, so you've heard that I'm God, and actually it's true, I am. And so therefore, you don't need to feel separation from me because you're always with me. There's never any separation between us, just like there's never any separation between an earthen pot and earth, what it's made of. So you're made of my love, so we're always together. So the gopis said, oh Padmanava, oh yes, we heard that you're God. So what does that mean? It means, oh Padmanava, you are worshipped by the demigods, like Shiva and Brahma, but we're ordinary household girls, and it's very difficult for us to worship you. We're in the ocean of samsara, birth and death. So how can we ordinary girls meditate on it? But what they really mean is, you say you're God, what a joke. That's like telling, and that we should meditate on you. Actually, we're trying to forget you. That's our problem, is that we can't forget you. So what a joke it is that you tell us to meditate on you. That's like telling PhD deletes to learn some ABCs. The demigods, like Lord Brahma, They're foolish enough to meditate on you, but we're smarter than that. Because we know what a cheater you are. Now, Brahma, he was born from the dull lotus. If you say you're Padmanabha, okay, then let's take it from there. Then Brahma was born from a dull, dead lotus flower, which came from your navel, and that's why he's so dull-brained, and that's why he doesn't mind meditating on you, but we're much smarter than that. So Padmanabhaya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha, Damodaraya Namaha. Might as well get the pronunciation right. Damodaraya. So that we know Yasoda Damodar, but there's also Radha Damodar. And Yashoda Damodar is part of Radha Damodar. Because Radha Damodar is the origin and Yasoda Damodar is an expansion. So Radha and Krishna and the gopis were one day sitting together, joking, and all of a sudden the gopis do a conspiracy, and they tie the anshul or veil of Radharani with the pitambar or shawl of Krishna together, which you do at marriages. And then they started singing marriage songs. The Shakas started singing and all the gopis were playing instruments, fanning them. And Krishna got scared and started running away, Radharani too. But they couldn't go anywhere because they were tied together. So that's Radha Damodar in the Damodar Bandhan Lila. So then Vasudeva is the son of Vasudeva, but Vasudeva is also Nanda Maharaj because Nanda Maharaj is a descendant of the Vasus. So that can also be Krishna and Vasudeva Anumodita. When Krishna was telling the gopis to go home after the Rasa Lila so that their parents wouldn't see that their beds are empty, the gopis didn't want to go. So Krishna in their heart, Vasudeva is in the heart of everyone, Krishna in their heart told them to go. But this isn't an Aishwarya Lila.